Welcome to our February 10th meeting. I call the meeting to order, and I begin with our public participation at Town of Hatfield Select Board meetings. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the Town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the Town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. For the public's information, this meeting is being recorded. Under announcements, I just want the general public, the town people to know that there's been a text message going around that says your account with the Hatfield Fire Department is due, and it's a scam. So if anybody, as you know, there's all kinds of scams on your phones and texts, but if anything that is associated with the town of Hatfield, if you have questions, please contact the town of Hatfield. I did talk to the fire chief earlier via email, and he mentioned that they don't solicit money through text messages. So just as you know, there's hundreds of these that going out there. I hope everybody's getting warmed up from the cold. It's been nasty the last few days, but those are my announcements. I don't know if you guys have any announcements.
Nope.
Okay, so we'll move along with public forum, if anybody's here for public forum. Okay, there's no one present.
Mr. Chair, would you be open to taking things slightly out of order tonight? If we could start with number 2, since the chief is here, and then go to number 3, since the folks who need to talk to us about that have a hard stop at 6 for another community?
Sounds good.
Okay, so you want to go number 2 to number 3
Chief's
and
here,
then
2,
number
3, then
1.
1. Yeah, just to keep things.
2, 3, 1.
Keeping
Okay,
things
I don't have a
completely,
problem with that.
understandable.
Okay. Topic 2, since our chief is here, Chief Flaherty, the topic 2 is the authorization to abate uncollected ambulance revenues totaling $124,784.50, which is a lot, but it's over a period of years, so I'll let the chief explain why it's this amount.
So these are bills that went out, and over time, they've either, the party is deceased, we have passed the statute of limitations on being able to collect. The billing company sends out multiple bills, which is Coastal Medical Billing, and then if the folks still don't pay, we do have a collection agency that we've used for a number of years. They will work with that individual to try to even get on a payment plan, but sometimes they just don't pay the bill. So at some point, we have to make a decision to abate it, and it comes off the books, because these are things that the accountant looks at every year, because in theory, it is sitting out there as potential revenue coming in. So they want to see us go through this once a year. This isn't the first time that I've been in front of you. This is a larger dollar amount, just because a lot of the cases have passed the statute of limitations for us to be able to collect. Medicare is probably one of the worst ones. We only got about 12 months total that we can collect. And once it goes past, there's really nothing we can do. So that's why these are here. And as you saw in your notes, for those at home, some of these cases date back to 2019. So we're hitting close to a 7-year mark on some of these that they've kind of been floating out there, and the two companies have done their best, but we can no longer collect.
I don't have any questions. I know unfortunately this happens, and we've gone through this before since I've been on the board, that we've had to do this. So I don't know if you guys have any questions.
I understand this fully.
It's not fun, but unfortunately, it's something we need to do, and it definitely works better when the accountant looks at our books.
So with that being said, I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to abate uncollected ambulance revenues in the amount of $124,784.50.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
I'll let you get on your way. Okay. Then we'll go to topic 3, Colonial Power Group. They were here at our last meeting to discuss I believe, some changes that they're requesting, and I'll let Andrew start with this.
Yeah, so we once again have Mark Capadona and Denise Allard here from Colonial Power Group, and this is to potentially make some changes to the aggregate energy rates that we have. We had a good discussion last time where Mark talked about the challenges that come from this DAISY or DAAS, Day-Ahead Ancillary Services Market policy. It was the first time that we, when structuring a contract, had to factor this in. So there were some judgment calls that had to be made to try to figure out how to structure it. And we now have more information about how this is playing out. We were extremely conservative in putting it together, but it turns out that's not quite enough. So Mark can touch on that more. I do just want to touch very briefly on what this is and what it means for residents. This aggregate contract that we have, we sign it to have an option, essentially. Energy costs are really rough on residents, especially when a couple of years ago this happened, and it could easily happen again. The Eversource basic service rates just absolutely skyrocketed based on energy conditions across the world, with issues with liquefied natural gas, issues with war in Ukraine. These sorts of things, these destabilizing events take place, and when that happens, our residents as energy consumers often end up getting really squeezed. So by signing these contracts, you end up with a generally stable price that functions as an option for residents. It's usually going to, over the course of the contract, beat the basic service rates. Even when it doesn't, everyone has the ability to opt in and opt out of that contract. And what it just means is that we need to be able to message to residents times when they might want to look at the rates and see if they want to make a change and then come back in. Right now, we're at one of those times when basic service has come down a little bit. They've got a decent rate. The town as a ratepayer needs to look at this as well. We should probably be moving our street lights to the basic service instead of the ag rate, so we'll be doing that. But this is the kind of thing that it's really good to have an option when times are tough. So I'll lead with that. I think signing the contract is a good thing overall, and we're still in it at the moment, and we really will need to stay in it because we've signed that contract. But that's why we do this program, and I'll let Mark talk a little bit about the DAISY and then what's changed since the last time we talked. Because the last time we talked, we said we probably don't need to make a change right now. That's really no longer the case. It makes a lot of sense to be giving us a longer runway to take on these extra costs that have gone up. We want to consider changing these rates really tonight by signing this contract. So I'll let Mark talk about that, and we'll figure this out together.
Good evening, Mark Capadona, Colonial Power. Just bring everyone up to speed on what went on. It was on January 26th and 27th. This new DAISY cost is a program that just got put into place last March, and ISO New England gave guidance of it would be about $100 million, $120 million over the whole year. Unfortunately, their guidance was well off. So when we met with Andrew, we said, hey, listen, here's it's a pass-through cost. It's so new, no one wants to fix it, right? There's no way to hedge that cost, so nobody knows what it's going to be. So we actually said, okay, we'll put 4 mills on the contract. And in doing so, we wanted to protect the town. Well, on January 26th and 27th, the costs were so large that those 2 days outstripped all the costs that ISO New England had for the whole program for the calendar year 25 and 26. So what they thought would cost about $100 million is over $1 billion so far. We're not even a year in yet. That'll be the end of February that we would actually have 1 year in. So this pass-through cost it's a terrible situation. The supplier has the ability after 3 mills to come to the town and to get it paid down. So a lot of reasons why I think it's a good time to get this done. ISO New England has finally acknowledged that they've made a mistake and they're going to be driving these costs down. Their goal is to get these things driven down before next winter happens. I don't know if everyone remembers the graph from last week, but that's when things really escalate. So what we're hoping to do is be able to pay down some of these costs during the low DAISY months, and then come back to the town once this has settled in and hopefully fix this once and for all. But what does it mean to customers? So the increase is 0.01244. That's 1 cent. So the current rate is 13,434. With the increase, the new program rate would be 14,678, or $7.50 per customer per month. Basic service, just so you know, basic service is 13,683 compared to the 14,600. The average customer would be paying about $6 more per month. But I want you to know, the way basic service is procured, it's always trailing. So I expect basic service to go up expeditiously starting in August, and I expect you to be back underneath their rate in August. So make no mistake, everyone can exercise their right to opt out of the program at any time and get back in without fear of penalty. Just be careful if you forget, because I actually know, because what happened this winter, we had a double polar vortex, first time in I don't know how many years. We're going to have expensive basic service rates next winter. That's guaranteed. It's locked in because of what happened this winter. So we're in front of you just asking for the authority to sign this contract so we can get this rate increase in time, so that hopefully when this program gets adjusted correctly, we're back in line, and hopefully we can bring these costs down. But I can answer any questions anyone might have.
I'm still doing math here.
And I'll just say, so what you were provided was a breakdown of what the costs have been per month, what savings have looked like. Over the course of the contract so far, the overall savings have been $79,788. So it's not a huge number, but if you're looking in public policy terms, if you're saving money on this at all, if it's $1, you could argue it's a good thing. So $79,788 for residents and other users that we've saved. And that's the goal overall, is to be able to beat the basic service rate over a long period of time. But it's also just a good thing for us to have the option in case there's a difficult winter. So that's what I'll say.
So would be changing the contract, the present contract?
We would be increasing the rate by essentially a cent, which is a lot. But what it does is it gives us this buffer from these DAISY costs. And we would be sure to message this to residents. We'll put out information about it. Colonial Power Group is good at that and will help us. There'll be a mailer sent out. Is that what we typically do, Mark?
Only because of the nature of this one, it's so difficult to explain.
Yeah.
What we were going to do is update the website, get you something. So I don't know if you push anything out, but that we could do that, just because DAISY ancillary services costs are very difficult to explain.
Yep.
We just want to let everyone know that the rates are going up. Their option is they can opt out if they'd like. That's never a problem. They can just make sure that they check back come July and August, because I promise you this, basic service rates are going to rise.
Yep.
Promise you.
Yeah, and that's on us. Just make sure the communication's good.
I guess the question that I still have is that we went through 2/3 or 3/4 of the year, and we were on the losing side of where this fee was set. And until now that we're finally on the winning side of it, now we want to up that rate even further.
Well, what do you mean by that we were on the...
If you look at the graph on the dollar amount that they had set,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look in the projections, or not the projections, but the totals, the first 5 or 6 lines of it, we're not saving anything. The power company's making money off of the rate that we were paying, because we were paying a higher rate than what the basic service was. Now we're getting told that now all of a sudden, because it's costing them more to provide the power, now you want to up our rate that we've already contractually agreed to. So for us, it seems like it'd be better business for us to keep our rate where it's at rather than to increase it. Or am I missing something massive here?
So, sorry, go ahead.
So in the contract, it allows for this DAISY pass-through. And this pass-through, once it goes over 3 mils, the supplier has the ability to, I just want you to know, they're not passing through anything other than cost. That's all. But the contract allowed them, because this cost just started, it's not even a year old, no one wanted to fix the cost. So we did it as a pass-through. Unfortunately, for everyone involved, this cost exploded. ISO New England understands they made a mistake with their guidance. They're going to make that change, but contractually we're obligated to make this change to the contract with the price. At no time are we gonna pay more than the actual cost of Daisy to Hatfield, at no time.
Right, but if it's a pass-through cost, why would it matter if we aggregate and change our rate to a higher level if it's going to pass through that level anyway? Because what is being proposed to bring it to is still less than what the burden fee is going to be. And if you're saying that it's projected that things are going to come back down after the winter, why wouldn't we keep our rates where they're at so that we don't continue to pay more for the following years?
So the supplier has already paid for Hatfield an extra $109,000 to this event that went on. So all they're doing is recouping those costs once we get those costs. And we hope, I'm saying to you, we hope that ISO New England makes these adjustments, we'll be able to readjust our rate down. That's the hope. But right now, we need to pay back dollars that have been spent on behalf of the Hatfield aggregation.
So the chart that we have, breaks down what savings looked like for everybody, and you can see where it's positive numbers down at the bottom for December 23.
Yeah.
Says total savings 14,000. So that means we saved those months. Recent months, it's been much closer because we actually been above basic service for a couple months. So
Yes.
for some of those months, we were paying slightly more than basic service, which is what we might have for these next few months as well. But then you make up for it in the months when basic services goes incredibly high, and then residents need that option. So most of the savings have come from the earlier months of this contract, definitely the most, the first year and a half. Yeah, I mean, it's why we have this, is to have the option.
Well, yeah, but I agree with Lucas. Like, when it should have cost less, we were still paying the same rate. We didn't get any money back, so now it's paying more. They want more money.
Well, they meaning, let's just make sure we're clear on who they is. That's the supplier themselves, right? Who has this Daisy provision that has kicked in the last, 6 months, Mark?
That's correct. So I just,
Well,
so one more time, I'm going to try. So on and I don't know if that chart's in there, it shows all the Daisy costs. It has the orange line at the bottom. It had the orange line at the bottom, and it had a green, yeah, that exact chart. So the guidance on the orange line at the bottom, that was what ISO said. What we thought would be we put an extra 3 mils on it, 3 times what that ISO told us. Unfortunately, for everyone involved, supplier, you, me, everyone, the cost exploded. And I'm using the word exploded because in total for this cost, it's 0.0678, 0.01678, almost 2 cents. They said it was going to be 1/10 of a penny. That's how far off they were. So because this cost is passed through, they're not going to make any money off. Once we pay it off, the rate can come down. Now the problem is will these costs come down or not? That's the problem. ISO New England's saying yes, we know we have a mistake, and we're going to go to the FERC, and we're going to work to get this done before next winter. But again, given the guidance they gave us here originally, we thought we were protecting the town because we put a little bit of extra on. That didn't turn out to be the case.
But that brings back my question from the last meeting of why wouldn't we just keep the rate that we are currently paying? We have a contract that's signed, do we not?
Correct. You have a contract that says these Daisy costs are passed through, and they have the right to recoup them. That's why we're in front of you now. They've called and said, hey, listen, we'd like to get this change made. We need to recoup these funds. Inside that contract, it says after 3 mils, they have the ability, once they're burned through the cushion and it's 3 mils more, they can come to the town and ask for that pass-through to be collected.
so it's a contract structure question. We could have paid more in the beginning and had rates higher if we wanted to try to avoid this larger payback later. but we were following the guidance that was out there for these new costs, thinking that they weren't going to be anywhere near as high as they've turned out. So,
According to the chart, we were paying more.
what do you mean?
To the graph.
Where?
We were paying a higher rate throughout the first 6 months of the year.
Which chart? Yep. We were paying.
The upper green line is the rate that we paid. And according to this chart, in the you have some in the first 6 months of the year, all in parentheses. Those are not savings. Those are. We don't actually start seeing savings until the bottom part of the chart.
The bottom of the chart is going December 23 is the bottom, so we're working backwards.
Yeah.
On that.
Okay.
Okay.
So still.
So, and it's kind of showing two different things.
Yeah, correct. That's your savings for basic service.
So here we're comparing our rate
Yeah,
to the basic service rate.
that's correct.
This is comparing what we're paying to towards these DAISY costs to the actual recoverable DAISY costs available to the supplier.
That is correct.
So sorry, there's an apples to pears comparison happening here.
That is correct, 100%. Yes. You're looking at savings compared to basic service on the quarterly report, and we were showing you DAISY costs on what's affecting the rate.
So our savings compared to basic service, that's just not, it's nice to know, but it's not real money. It's not like we now have this extra set of money we can use for something compared to these DAISY costs where if we are saving enough and we come out ahead and can pay off the supplier in the case that the costs end up higher, then fine, that's nice. But if we're behind, like that's real money that they actually can come back and say, you owe us. So we need to change the rate to go higher in order to pay them back those rates when they come back to us, if that makes
You
sense.
want to say, let's just say the DAISY cost came in where they said. At some point, if Andrew wanted to, we could have lowered the rate because in the contract it goes both ways. It's not like they could have held on to your money because they were collecting.
Right.
I'm saying to you, in this scenario, it's both ways. The unfortunate thing is we're on the wrong side of it this time. Now again, down the road, I fully expect ISO New England to make this change and things to fall back into line. I know when you bought power, I know where power is today. This contract is going to deliver savings down the road. Make no mistake about that. The question is when, because basic service doesn't have all the DAISY costs in it yet. Coming to a basic service rate near you in August of 2026.
Right. So the upshot is for the average resident in town, if they're on the ag program, they're going to be paying $6 a month more in energy costs. Is that right, Mark? $6 a month?
It's $7.50 more on the aggregation rate, but more than basic service is exactly correct. $6 more than basic service per month.
Yeah. Real money, it's a lot, so we can be telling people, like, if you want to switch to the basic service, that's absolutely available to you, and it's not difficult to do. We'll have a full explainer on how to do that. But also, you know, it's unfortunate this is happening. At the same time, $6 a month, it's not going to break any families for the most part. So that's where we're at.
And what happens if we say no?
The costs could be higher later. We'll have a shorter runway to make up for these costs that are going to come in. If we say no, I'd assume there will be, I don't think we'd be in any advantage in a legal proceeding with a supplier who comes in saying that we are owed these costs based on how the contract works. So we'd need to pay up at some point. The argument is if we do it now, then we have a longer runway of rates, yes, higher, but they could be even higher later if we wait to make the change. If we need to raise a certain amount of money, we'll have to do a higher increase later in the contract.
So then if DAISY continues to increase in the future, we're going to have to raise rates again.
Yes.
Correct. If it was to happen, that is correct. That is correct. But I don't expect that to happen only given the event that happened in January. ISO New England is on top of this because they know they've made a huge mistake. They made a huge mistake.
This isn't only affecting, Hatfield. I know you're concerned with Hatfield. This isn't only affecting Hatfield's aggregation, right? This is affecting, there's a lot of aggregations in Franklin County and in the Berkshires under the same thing. This is going to get, people are going to be talking about this. To Mark's point, they know they screwed up. Plus, a lot of aggregations are being affected in the same manner. So.
Well, it is sort of crazy because gas prices keep going down, at this time. And so, I mean, I'm not sure what fuel they're using to power these plants, whether it be natural gas or oil.
Both,
And
both, natural gas and oil, yeah. Number 7 jet fuel, some LNG, but, yeah. Not gasoline though, not gasoline, natural gas, not gasoline.
so it sounds like we're at an impasse here. I think we might need another time to think about it, I guess. I'm not.
Is there anything we can try to get to try to sign a contract? I mean, I understand if you need more information, but it could help us to move more quickly on this. I
guess the
recommendation.
problem, what I'm hearing is that we had a contract, we were paying, set up for a lower rate. Now, the rates are jumped, so they want to change the contract. It's not their fault that the rates are jumping, it's how they set it up, I guess, with whoever they bought from.
No, but we have this contract so that this wouldn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, the contract is set up to minimize risk. In this case, there is a risk built into it that anyone who was looking at the industry thought it wasn't going to be as high as it was. We structured it in a certain way. We structured it with the information that we had at the time, and unfortunately, the reality of the program has been that the costs are going to be much higher for us. And this is something that towns across the state are dealing with, and it's very likely going to change moving forward. They'll be changing regulations on it. For right now, it means that we need to either act now and change what the contract looks like to have a manageable increase right now, or risk having a larger increase in the future that's paid over a shorter amount of time, which would probably hit our residents harder. But we can do it either way. It's absolutely fine. It's just most likely we're going to need to pay these costs, and we'll have to. I don't see a system of recovering it beyond paying for this.
I mean, I guess that's my other question.
If we do it now, we're sort of rolling the dice that it's gonna happen.
Well, we know that we owe money. We know that the supplier is asking for these DayZ cost recoveries.
Who's we? Other than the town buildings, like, maybe I'm
This
misunderstanding
isn't town buildings. This is a program called the Aggregation Community Power Choice,
Right.
where all residents and other payers, other folks, are opted into the program. They can opt out
Right.
if they want to.
I get that.
They are in.
So my
So
question is
anybody,
that
yeah.
other than town-owned buildings, we keep saying that we are going to have to pay this back. Who is we?
It's everybody who's part of the program.
So that just if we say no,
Yeah.
they're going to just get a bill mailed to them for the difference broken out at whatever percentage of power they use compared to everyone else? Well, how would they even go about collecting it?
At some point, yeah, I mean, how does it get collected? I don't know. I assume they would just at some point have to raise the rates on us or something to recover these costs. I'm not sure how it would work. I don't know, Mark, have you ever seen that happen?
But just so that everyone knows, so in aggregation, it comes right on your, what would be your Western Mass electric bill, Eversource, if you will, on your, and it just states that it's Hatfield aggregation, if you're part of it, First Point Power, and that rate is currently that 13,434. That's going to go up, and that's the only change that would happen. It's just that single line item. It wouldn't be on a separate bill or anything like that. It's just
Mark, I
anyone
think
that-
the question is, what if we don't? If we don't increase this, what is the cost recovery method that the supplier has,
Well,
and how does it end up hitting residents in the town?
Well, at that point, people would, so at that point, they'll end up just, I guess it would become a court case, right? Because you have a contractual obligation to pass through these costs, and then it would end up being some litigation of some sort.
And
I
the
mean,
town would be, yeah, it would be against the town, I assume.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
You have the contract with the town,
Yeah.
you would end up fighting it out and so forth, you know, I don't, I could ask our attorney how that would play out. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
you know, they're willing to wait. One of the reasons we wanted to move swiftly on this one is because usage comes down at this time. There's going to be a discount on your electricity bill at this time. all of those things were playing in our favor, right? So usage is high in the wintertime and again in the summertime. So what we were thinking was is implement this right now and it's less impactful during March and April. Daisy costs are less. Hopefully we're chewing up much more of that overage quicker than later. That's the hope that we were using, because it's the winter time that's the big problem, because we have a natural gas capacity issue. So the summertime rate Daisy costs aren't, as you can see, they're not as expensive because we have plenty of natural gas. But the sooner we get started, the easier it is to pay this down. That's the goal. Whether or not, we don't have to do it this month, we can come back and talk to you again.
Yep.
If we can, it's completely up to the board. Just, right now we're doing it for 18 or 20 towns in Franklin County and all the Berkshires, just so that you're aware that they've all agreed to move forward with this increase, if you will.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you have to.
No,
We
no,
can
we
hold
don't have
up
to do
it.
this.
I'm just saying it's going to increase, right? But at some point, there'll be another increase. We'll say, right now, I think it's like, give me 1 second, I think it was like 109,000, 110,000. Maybe it's 112 or 115,000, and then it goes to 120. What happens? Again, I expect it to be, actually, it'll probably come down starting in March and April, because we're already collecting 4 mils, and it's probably going to be below that, given that historic that we saw last March. We'll start eating away at it slowly.
Okay, I guess so.
Is there information that would be helpful for you to have for
Alright.
future?
Honestly, this contract runs out at the end of this year, right?
And we've extended till the end of 28. Right,
2028,
2028.
I think.
So what's Colonial's Power stake in this?
December
Or
2028.
what's
You're
their,
our broker.
so
The select board member asked what Colonial Power Group's stake is in this.
Our fee is 0.001, 1/10 of a penny. So on that 13,434, without our fee, it would be 13,334. So everyone understands that, right? It's 1/10 of a penny per kilowatt hour.
Which is
I'm sorry?
to the average homeowner?
The average homeowner, they say to use for a month is 600 kilowatts.
What's that convert to dollars?
For our fee or for the increase?
It gets passed on to the consumer, like me.
But for the Daisy cost or for Colonial's fee?
For Colonial's fee, that's the question.
It's up 60 cents,
The average user is paying about 60 cents a month.
about 60 cents a month, that's correct.
Okay.
Using 600 kilowatts. If you use a little bit more, you're paying a little bit more. If you use a little less, you're paying a little less.
Thanks,
But in
Mark.
that range.
And so the benefit is if the rates go up a little bit, Colonial help by keeping it down, but if it goes up a lot, nobody helps. Is that what I'm getting?
I guess I'm still just lost on the savings here. If we look at the chart from when we started back in December of 23, and you add up, like the numbers really aren't even like close.
It's $79,000 so far
Yeah.
over the length of the contract. So is it a huge savings? It's not massive, but I mean, it doesn't really cost us very much, and it's something that's available to us that really helps in the toughest months.
But I very well could be wrong here, but I don't think it's 79 of savings. I think it's 79,000 in expenditure.
So the
Because
month
if-
where you see the negative, that means a negative savings, so that means we're paying more. That's just the way the chart is structured. The positive months, we've saved money.
Right. So the ones that are in parentheses in
Yeah.
the far right column,
Yeah.
those are costs.
If they're in parentheses, then we're paying more than the basic
Correct.
rates.
And when you do that out, it comes out in the ones in parentheses are a total of $89,481. The ones not in parentheses is a total of $169,271, giving you a delta of $79,790 that we have paid additionally over the basic service rate.
When I added this up, it was $79,000 was what I got from my chart, was $79,000 in savings over the length. But what did you get?
I get $79,000, but in additional, like not in savings. Because it's mostly those bottom ones from 23 through 24.
Those are the ones where we were saving, right? Just so we're on the same page. If the number is positive, that means we are saving.
Mine don't show as positive and negative. Mine are in parentheses and
But
non-parentheses.
look, the ag rate is
ag rate on the-
non-parentheses is we are saving because we're under the ag rate. Sorry, we're under the basic service rate. The ag rate is 13. The basic service is 14 down at the bottom, December 23. So that's a month where we saved
Okay,
$14,000
so I'm
across
reading
the
this
board.
backwards.
Yeah, that's okay. And Mark and Denise, you have to go to another community, right?
No.
I do, unfortunately, I apologize. If we just need to wait till the next, I'll let the supplier know that we're not gonna make the rate change for March, and we can continue this conversation. I'd like to be there in person, it'll make it easier. I think we're mixing apples and oranges, and there's just, there's a bunch of charts, right? One of them's the daisy cost, the other ones are savings for the contract, and I think they're confusing the two, and I don't want anyone to be confused. I want them to have all the information and it's straight in their head, that's all. I think, you know, I'm happy to come back or come out to see you again, Andrew, you know, just to make sure everyone is comfortable with all the information, make no mistake.
Well, I'm happy to catch up with folks here at some point, and we can we'll see where we're at after we've had a chance to digest just a little bit, and then
Okay.
Mark, you and I will touch base. But it sounds like there's consensus from this group not to sign anything tonight.
Correct.
Okay, good. That's fine.
I'll be in touch, Andrew, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Denise.
Okay, have a good night. Okay, we were out of order, so I forgot the consent, the minutes. Do I have a motion
Sure,
on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve January 27 meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Under posted business, we'll go back to topic 1. Topic 1 is actually, we have minimum water rate, minimum sewer rate, and minimum ag rate, meaning if somebody's using less than 500 cubic feet for water or less than 250, 100 cubic feet for sewer, or less than 800 cubic feet for agricultural, they have a fee of $75 for the minimum on the water and the sewer, and I think 54, 56. So since we switched to billing, we just want to split that in half. We're not requesting an increase on these rates, we're just requesting to split that $75 in half. So it'd be $37.50 per billing cycle on the water, $37.50 for the billing cycle on the sewer, and $28 on the billing cycle for the ag usage, but these are just for people that are using the minimum amounts. And again, they're not increases whatsoever, they're just taking what we normally charge for the minimum rate and splitting in half. So, any discussion on this? And with that, I will accept the motion. I have to have 3 motions on each one.
I'll make a motion to set the minimum bill for water usage at $37.50 for those using 500 cubic feet HCF per billing cycle or less.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to set minimum bill for sewer usage at $37.50 for those using 250 HCF per billing cycle or less.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion to set the minimum bill for agricultural usage at $28 for those using 800 HCF per billing cycle or less.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, topic forward, do we have anybody going to be present here?
We do. They're joining us online. You'll see we have George Frost and Jay Berry, who are here to talk to us about the work that they're doing with the State Association of Regional Schools. I'll let them introduce themselves to talk about proposed regional district.
Before they introduce themselves, I just want to be clear that what we're discussing for the people of town of Hatfield, it's not set in stone, it's nothing definite. This is just a discussion, and if we ever did go and be part of Smith Folk under a regional program, it would be up to the town to decide. So I just want to be clear out there that this is just discussion purposes before we get into this. And I hope that we,
Conference will now be recorded.
yes.
Okay, gentlemen, you're able to hear me, I guess, is that correct?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry for the delay. Normally Jay would give the presentation, but I'll hopefully be a reasonable backup for him. I've heard him do it several times. My name is George Frost. I'm a former superintendent of schools in several places. Jay, like me, is also a retired superintendent. And we're part of a group that's known as the MARS, which is the Mass Association of Regional Schools consulting group. We've been working on a number of projects with regional school implications over the last 15 or so years. We have been engaged back in November by Smith Agricultural Vocational High School to help them look at some options and develop with them some options for them to move forward. Smith Agricultural Vocational High School is a unique high school, a unique school in the state of Massachusetts. It is a school that was initiated many.
You just froze.
Yeah, we probably won't sit it again. Well,
Just a Comcast issue we're having?
Yes, it is.
They're coming out tomorrow.
Says up here, organizer is experiencing technical difficulties. Unless the organizer rejoins, the session will end soon.
Here.
Oh, I don't know if I can.
Maybe have them back at the next meeting, I don't know,
we could.
if we're having
The
audio.
internet dropped out 4 times last night to the school committee.
Right.
Times?
Why don't we do that? I mean,
Well, if we can get right back in, let's just try to get this done. But
we keep
Here,
going
we'll see.
offline, we got finance coming in at 6:30 too, so.
yeah, it's only a couple people from it. We won't have a quorum from finance.
I mean, he can't tell, he can't hear us, he's talking away. So.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm coming back.
I'm back. Jay, try speaking. There he is. His headphones.
As soon as he comes back on, I'll let him pick up. But
You're doing great, George.
essentially, as I said, Smith is concerned about its sustainability of program, and in particular, they're concerned about the conditions of Building D, which is houses some of their core vocational programs. It's home to their carpentry shop, their cabinetry shop, electrical, mechanical. There are some programs in the art department, some of which are vocational, some of which are on the academic side of things, as well as some academic classrooms. The building is, Jay and I had the opportunity to tour the building back in December. The building is really in difficult condition right now. And that's one of the issues that Smith is looking at as they move forward. Part of the issue for Smith is because it is not a public school, it is not eligible to receive MSBA funding. They are not able to put in a statement of interest with Mass Building, the State Buildings Group, and so they're looking at how are there ways that they can possibly look to sustain their program and also begin to do some of the capital improvements that need to happen. We, as I've said, we've met with several communities. We had a conversation with Town Administrator Levine and Superintendent Driscoll a while back, and we're pleased that you folks were willing to listen to a presentation from us this evening. What we are looking at initially is asking the sending communities that there was a question of whether or not they would be willing to participate in a regionalization study along with other communities to potentially turn Smith from its current state as into a regional school district. If that were to happen, the process itself could take several years to get to a point where a decision would be made. It's during that process of 2-3 years, perhaps even as many as 4, to come to a conclusion that would give the definitive information regarding the financial implications for each of the communities. The process after that period of time would have to go back to each of the towns, and the towns would have to vote to join the region, and it would have to end up being a unanimous vote to have the region actually come into existence. So it's a process that would be time-consuming, but it would, if it reached the regional status, the upfront point is one of the first things that would happen is that Smith would have to then seriously consider submitting a statement of interest to Mass School Building to probably build a new Building D, and replace it fully, and after replacement, probably do a tear down of the existing building. So we're coming and we're talking with selectmen where we're able to, because ultimately the decision is a town-based decision, because the joining a region is a town decision rather than simply a school decision. One of the, we want to make sure that we're upfront, where Smith has probably 10 to 15 communities that send some reasonable number of students, but there are probably 50 or plus communities that send one or more students. There are many, many communities that send 1, 2, or 3 students. If obviously the regional study reached a conclusion where a regional school district was going to be established, there would be an assessment rather on the member communities, but there is also within the state the opportunity to do a surcharge on tuition for sending districts for their students. That would be a capital increase on top of the existing tuition. So in a general sense, that's really why we're here in front of you tonight, is to lay the plan out. You may want to discuss it, obviously beyond this evening. There's no judgment. It will be something that a number of communities may find to be something that they would like to participate in, but there may be some communities that will be less inclined to want to participate in a regional study. So with that general overview, I know you've got I'm sure you've got an agenda this evening that you need to get to. So what we're asking is whether you would be interested in participating in a regional study. We may reach a point where, because there will be a cost to the regional study of probably in the high 5 figures, we're hoping that we will be able to approach DESE, the Department of Education, or perhaps the state, to receive a grant that would fund the study. But there is a possibility, if we don't get that kind of funding, that there could be some charge to fund the study by the participating communities. We will be meeting DESE, and hopefully we'll have an answer to that question later on this month. We're now actually, Jay and I, as we've gone through this with several communities, we're now thinking that we may be at least asking sending communities if they would be willing to attend a meeting with all of the other communities where we will attempt to bring more definitive information regarding the cost of the study, et cetera, to all of the sending communities who are willing to at least attend that meeting. So that's kind of a quick overview of where we are. I don't know if there are any questions that you might have that we could try to answer this evening to help you make
Well, I
Does
mean,
anyone have any questions that you want me to forward to them and get for next time, or?
well, I think for next time, I think before before I could commit to anything, I'd like to see what, like, the school committee thinks of something like that.
Sure.
What the superintendent thinks of something like that. I mean, there's a lot of decisions have to be made because their cost is a big factor. What's it going to cost us? And what's the pros and cons of regionalization? I mean, that's what the study's supposed to bring out. So, I mean, I do think Smith School is a great school, but I have to look at what's in the best interest of the town of Hatfield. So I have to see what people are thinking, and I think if you don't have support of the school committee and the schools to just look at this, then I don't see any point of moving forward, but I'd like to have, that's just my opinion. I'll let you guys add in here.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they had better clarification if this was going to be something that DESE was going to cover the cost of before we make a decision to enter into this study or not. I think the other thing to look at too is, I'm not sure how the charter with Hatfield being so connected to Smith is different, if it's different from other towns, if we're the same as other towns. Does it make sense for us to regionalize?
Right.
With all that.
Well, I'm sorry, what did you mean by that? That was
So if, I
just
mean,
because we have the connection to Smith.
right, already.
Yeah.
I have no, and I don't have the answer to that. I think, but it's something that we probably should do some research on to find out, do we operate differently being so closely connected with Smith as than the other sending towns do?
Under the will of Oliver Smith, how
So,
that applies.
That's a great question.
because we could, I mean, depending on the way it reads, like,
Right.
it might not apply to us or it might hold true, so.
Excellent question.
Really good point, yeah.
So we'll get a conversation going with the schools, and we'll follow up for some more clarification on these costs, and we'll also check the wills just to see if there's anything else that we should know about for how we're affected.
I mean, and the other part too, it seems like the reason that they're pushing for this regionalization is help to spread the cost out of that building, the building. So if have there been preliminary design drawings yet? Do we know what the cost of that building is? If you broke that out amongst, like, what would Hatfield's percentage share be for that building alone if we were to regionalize?
Yep.
Any of those big financial decisions is going to probably strongly change the opinions of the townspeople, whether it's something that we want to be involved in or not.
Well, probably
So-
just the tuition will go up too, so,
Yeah, I'm not
No
sure.
doubt.
but-
No doubt about that.
Mike?
Yeah, I think that's the key question, really, is how does it change what townspeople would take on as capital costs? Because in these regional agreements, typically you fix a capital cost based on usually population or number of sending students, but typically population. And it would be significantly higher than our current arrangement
Right.
for capital costs. So we'd have to decide if we want to be a part of that and have the benefits that go along with it, which includes representation in a regional school committee, which is nice. You'd have some say in the way they go, but we'd be taking on more costs, for sure. So
Right, so.
Do we have any say in the arrangement now? I don't.
we have no role in the governance of Smith Vocational.
We just send our kids there.
Right.
It's
Pay the bill.
all run by, all the trustees are from Northampton.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Yeah. If we get some more insight, then we can certainly make better decisions.
All right, we'll start with that.
Let's see, are we having more than one member of the finance committee here tonight?
John Wilkes is a strong maybe, so we might just have David tonight.
So do we want to move along with our agenda, or do we want to go with the finance committee?
I say we get the rest of the agenda done and then do finance,
Okay,
as long as Dave doesn't mind.
give John a chance
Dave's
to
happy.
come. Okay, so topic 5 is a change order number 6 for the Hatfield Water Treatment Plant. And the way I understand this, and Marlo can correct me if I'm wrong, it looks to me that one of the items, the baskets, are something that we might have to purchase in the future anyways, and they would be more expensive, so it's a good time to buy it now. And the other change order would be for repairing an existing pipe that's in place. Would I have that correct?
Spot on.
Okay. So one change order is $5,462.50 for the 4 1/16" perforated baskets for the duplex basket strainer. But in the future, if we waited, then it's gonna, those prices will probably cost more, and something that we'll have to buy in the future anyways. And the other repair is something that's needed. It's the repair of the existing scum tipping weir and clarifier number 1. They want to repair it, and the cost of that's $2,419.08, and that's the request for the change orders. So, is there any questions on these change orders?
Nope.
No.
I can make a
That
motion.
being said, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve change order 6 for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades project.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make one quick note about future change orders for this project as well. This is a good thing. This is the fact that we are still in a very positive position on the project. We haven't had to use a significant amount of contingency. It's looking like we'll end up with a good surplus, but as a reminder, surplus in this project means money we really should try to spend. It's a rare case of that because this is the USDA's money at this point. We are basically into the grant portion of the project. So at this point, we'd want to find some change orders to make good use of this USDA money. It's looking like we will be able to add generators to this project connected to the wastewater treatment system. To 2 generators, we had looked at doing it through our prime contractor on this, WM Schultz. The prices they came back with were higher than we would really expect for this project and wouldn't quite fit under the amount that we have left on the project with adding in a healthy contingency and some other funds. So what we're planning to do is to do a separate bid. USDA has approved it. DPC Engineering is preparing that, so we'll get that out the door in the next few weeks, see where the numbers come in, but we're very hopeful that we think we'll get pretty good numbers on an additional bid for these generators. Probably better numbers than Schultz gave us, just for whatever reason. And we'll move forward with that as soon as the bid is out the door. But there isn't a risk right now of not being able to cover that through the USDA money, that they're aware of it. They want to be able to make this happen. They'll extend it out as they need to. And we're in this grant portion anyway, so we don't need to worry about our loans or anything else.
It's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, it should be all right.
Is this a replacement or a second generator?
Replacement, two new generators.
Yeah, at 2 lift stations that don't have them.
Oh.
And we should.
Yeah.
I believe King Street's one of them, and I forget the other. Maybe Ferry Street?
Ferry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, King and Ferry.
Okay, topic 6 would be review potential warrant articles. That's just we don't really need to get into this.
We don't really
tonight.
need to talk about this very much. I'll give you a very quick overview. Obviously, we need to set the warrant for town meeting by the end of April. We'll sign it at the end of April. It'll begin to take more form over the next few weeks. We do have a deadline that we had given to department heads and boards and commissions to have warrant articles come in by February 6th. That was last Friday. We didn't have a lot come in yet. A lot of times these things do come in closer to the date of the meeting, but right now we just don't have a ton of warrant articles, which I'd be happy to keep it that way. I think we'll have enough to handle between the budget, capital improvement, and Community Preservation Act. So, we'll have our normal number 1, setting town elections. We'll have some general town articles like we normally do, including snow and ice, and don't get Marlo started on that, but he'll have more to say later, probably next month. And then operating budget and revolving fund, as always. Some financial housekeeping. We'll have a bond authorization to rescind. We have some past project accounts that we'll be able to close. I'll most likely want to, similar to what we did at the special town meeting, close those and help supplement this year's budget with that, but we might not have to. A prior year's bill, capital improvement, community preservation, and then one thing for your review, no need to get into this tonight, but it's an early draft of new guidelines that will be in our zoning for battery energy storage systems. This is something that the state has been doing a lot of work on. They've done some changing of the general laws around making this making the zoning for this more permissible across the state. So there'll be more of these battery energy storage systems coming into towns across the state, unless you add some more protections around it. There's things you're allowed to do, not allowed to do, kind of like with their general rules around ADUs and other things. So Planning Board is working on this. They've learned more about this best than you ever thought they might, and they'll have some good rules coming for this. So we'll learn more about this soon, but just wanted to let you know that it's here. If you're interested in the early draft, here it is. And that's bylaws at the moment.
Okay, topic 7 is some appointments. Do I have a motion on the appointments?
Make a motion to appoint Matt Hagopian to Recreation Commission.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Another motion.
I'm going to abstain from this.
Oh, yeah.
Marlo wants to discuss on this this appointment. Is this?
Yeah. Do you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah,
And
sure.
then
Sure. As
leave
we
the
all
room if you
know,
wanted to, but you don't have to.
as we all know, we had a laborer's position open. I've received actually 5 applicants, but one of them came in after an offer was made. So we ended up interviewing 2. I had tried to schedule with the 3rd and wasn't able to. I had to keep moving the interview. So the applicant pulled his application. So out of the interview process, John Majewski, I guess, came to the top. It was a very good interview. He's certainly has a good start on knowledge and skill set to become a good DPW worker. He's well on his way. He also worked for us for summer help in 2024, so he kind of knows some of the guys. He knows what we do in the summer. It's to my understanding that he's done a little bit of snow plowing. He's learning his way on that. So he'd probably come at a good time right now. So I highly recommend we bring him aboard. I asked 15 questions, a set of questions in an interview, and he handled them quite well. And he explained how he wanted to advance. He wants to get right after his hoisting license if he was to come aboard. So I think he'd be a good fit for our laborer's position.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I will if you tell me how to pronounce his last name.
Majewski.
Is it Majewski? Okay.
I had to ask 4 times. It's okay.
I knew it was a catch when I saw the J. Motion to appoint. I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Majewski as a highway laborer.
I'll second that. And you abstaining?
Mhm.
Okay, one abstain. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-4, one abstain. So,
He'll be starting
Yeah.
Tuesday, the day after the holiday.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
okay, and topic 8, 2 more topics to go. And John's not here yet, okay, so. Okay, topic 8, annual approval of wage salary rate adjustment request for Walter Merrick, Inspector of Buildings. And the only question I have on that is the money. It says under hours, then it says, what, 1,800, so.
It's an $1,800 stipend given out twice per year. It's broken down into 2 $900 payments. Because we're already halfway through the year, it'll just be one $900 payment this year.
Okay, so that's a stipend, okay, and we're happy that he is willing to take on the responsibilities as an assistant
Yep.
building inspector, so.
He's been very on top of it. He's come in and do all his paperwork.
Is
Any
it
questions?
1,800 twice a year, so 3,600, or is it 900?
It's $1,800 paid in 2 installments of $900.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
900 twice a year.
Not that I have a problem with it. I was just curious.
No. It's a good question.
Weird how it reads on
Yeah,
the
that's how it
form.
reads. It's
Um,
twice a year.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the wage salary rate adjustment for request for Walter Merrick, Inspector of Buildings alternate.
Second?
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And the last topic before we go into the town administrator and committee finance budget overview is Cecilia Harvey. At the last meeting, we asked if there could be payments of some sort made.
Yep.
And what has occurred?
Yeah, so this board was looking to try to get some kind of payment representing about half what's owed. So right now there's still a total of $3,132 that's owed. We're looking for some kind of payment to at least cut that in half and then perhaps going on to a payment plan. I spoke to the conservator. She really does not have anything in funds right now. She receives about $70 a month right now after expenses that go towards the nursing home. So she said she's willing to put in $10 a month as long as she can just to do something. But it really is a situation where there's not a lot of money here. So she'd like to at least try to be doing something and wants to put in $10 a month. And that's what she can offer at the moment.
I mean, in that case, I'm not interested in abating it, and we will gladly accept her $10 a month.
All right, we'll keep going.
Okay.
That's
So-
just my opinion, unless you guys feel differently.
So that's the proposed payment plan. I think we would need a motion for that, and I don't know. You probably don't need a motion for that because it's not an abatement. So we'll just put her on that plan between the treasurer and the DPW director. Unless we have consensus on that, that sounds way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're not going to collect. It sounds like there's no opportunity for us to collect more than the $10 a month, and by us not abating it, we're not setting a further precedent that we're going to do this in the future either.
Okay, so you saying we need a motion in that?
I don't think we do.
I don't think so either.
Yep,
so-
because there's
okay.
no abatement.
So,
You're going to freeze what she owes, though. There's not going to be more interest added onto the account.
That's correct. Yeah, I think we should do that.
Yeah, that sounds
So the rest of it, you're going to.
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, the interest might be more than the payment.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
okay, we got topic 10, and then we got the finance committee budget overview, so I suppose you want to go quick on your topic.
Yeah, I'll go really quick, and then we'll
10,
do finance, and then
we'll have David come and sit
We're
down
good.
up here. Okay.
Great. So my first update on health insurance is really something that I just want to flag for everyone here that I want to try to do at our next meeting. So Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust has issued their early projections. We'll talk about this when I go through budgets as well. They had recommended 20% increases or 16% increases that are accompanied by plan design changes, which would mean we take on plan design changes for employees that would roughly mirror what the state's GIC does. We would add a deductible. Right now our plans do not have any deductibles. They would recommend $500 deductibles and some other co-pays that are a little higher. as well. So in order to do that, we would need to go through basically the same process that we did when we looked at the GIC, to have a meeting with the PEC, the Public Employee Commission. And I have a meeting set up with them on Wednesday, tomorrow, and so we will talk about this and some other things. That won't be an official kickoff of this process, but at your next meeting, we will intend to do that. And when we did the negotiation before, we really were also supposed to go to another body as well, called the Insurance Advisory Commission. We don't have one of those. We don't have an Insurance Advisory Committee, but we're supposed to under state law. So I'm recommending that at our next meeting, that the Select Board pass a policy to clarify who is a member of the Insurance Advisory Committee. It's purely advisory, as the name would suggest. They meet once, they consider what's been brought to them for potential changes, and then they don't have any votes. But that body is supposed to consist of 8 members, and it's supposed to include 1 retiree, representatives from each of the public sector unions, and then other people representing the other departments. So we can even discuss tonight or at the next meeting who would make sense to have in this committee, what departments you want represented. So it would include a retiree, and then someone from the teachers union, someone from the paraprofessionals union from the schools, and then someone from the DPW union. That gives you 4 more spots that you can put people on. You could have someone from town hall employees, you could have someone from police, fire. You could kind of structure it how you want to. We can kind of spitball on that now. I could work with the chair on what might make sense, and then we pass some kind of policy saying who it is, who you'd appoint, and I'll also ask employees for who would like to be on it as well.
Right, I mean, I would ask the employees who's interested.
Yeah.
And so when we do appointment next meeting, we'll know who we're appointing.
Yeah.
So that's,
Excellent. So, and again, it's purely advisory, but it's something that we are required to have, so we'll figure that out. I'm still waiting as well for proposal from Maya, and I'm looking at other options for health insurance just because we need to look at all our options. Route 5 we'll talk about in executive session, but I do just want to offer an update to residents, since I know a lot of people are very interested in knowing what's going on. We're corresponding with Gielaher about the report that was presented on January 12th from CEI. Gielaher has requested that an independent engineer review the report and the work itself. The town is most likely going to pursue this, but we do need to discuss that with the board. We're looking to move this as fast as possible because we really want to finish this as fast as we can. So one way or another, we need to know what the scope is, what work has to be done, and how we're going to get it done. So that's what we're trying to do, is have a plan ready to go when it's time to start working. Hatfield Elementary School roof. We had a great site walk last week. I've been on the roof far too often at the elementary school lately, but you know what? The view's nice, and it's less snowy than you'd think. So it's been pretty good. Marlo's been up there a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of roof time. 11 contractors on site, most of them indicating that they're planning to bid on the project. Filed sub-bids due February 17th, general bids due February 25th. By the 25th, we'll know what our bids look like for the roof. So we're hearing good things out there, and there's certainly a lot of interest. I mean, 11 people showing up to go run around on the roof is pretty good. Day Pond project is underway. This is the problem with doing these updates, writing them on a Thursday. Things do change. Dredging was scheduled for the week of February 16th. The contractor has moved along and is already dredging now. So they're out there doing the work. The weather was good for doing it now. They were ready to go. We had our engineer on site today and did some work making sure that they were compliant with the plan. Marlo's been out there every day, so it's looking good. Western Earthworks has been good to work with. Nice to have them as our new neighbors. So all good there. We'll keep you updated, but we're ahead of schedule, which is nice.
Very nice.
That's what I got.
okay, thank you. I apologize for David, we went over a little bit, and we had you for 6:30, so I guess we can move into, with the Finance Committee.
With the finance, David.
Overview.
So great. So here we are. We're at the start of our budget review. Over the next few weeks, we'll make sure that we meet with our department heads and boards and commissions. Finance Committee has started as well. We had a good meeting last Thursday. I'm still going through all of the requests. There's a few things that are still somewhat up in the air, health insurance being one of them. That's a major cost driver. And school budget is the other major cost driver, and their budget should be confirmed in 2 weeks. So once we have that, and once we feel good about the number we're locking in for health insurance, I'll be able to start really evaluating the rest of the requests that have come in. As you would expect, we won't be able to fund all of the requests that have come in. We are starting from a little bit of a place behind, based on what happened last fall with the levy limit being lower than we realized it really was, and the amount that we were doing through taxation needed to be lower. Those cuts and some other things have resulted in starting from about $250,000 behind. At the same time, we have some costs that are coming off the books. So between that and then schools looking like their expenses should be relatively small for increases, is helpful. What's less helpful is from last year to this year, health insurance alone has increased by $400,000. So when you look at what our budget looks like overall, how much money we have to spend on things, on new expenses, we start with a 2.5% increase to the levy limit of around $265,000, and you add in what we anticipate for new growth. Typically, we anticipate around $65,000. Last year was $100,000. I think this year will look a lot more like the $100,000. So say we have $365,000 of new spending that we can add while feeling pretty good about things. We already have $400,000 that we need to account for in the health insurance costs, if they're as high as we're talking about now through the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. So that's the reality that we're in. I see a number of areas where we can make some reasonable cuts, but we also need to look at if there's any other revenue sources we're predicting, any other changes that we can make. One big thing I'm focusing on is making sure that any other revenue sources that we have are being tapped appropriately. So that includes water and sewer enterprise accounts. It also includes our ambulance accounts, anything else but that there's revenue for. Are we making sure that any expenses are being paid for through those sources? So that's something that we're making sure is going the right way. The other large cost to be aware of is that debt will increase this year as well. And Tammy and I will make sure we talk about that. But once we have an idea of what the overall debt picture looks like, there are some payments that are due in some projects, including the culvert, that we'll need to account for. So our free cash number is very healthy. That's helpful. We'd like to try to build the budget so we're not using any free cash, and we'll see where we're at. So
What was the number on free cash?
it's $1,050,000 for free cash certified, and upwards of $700,000 for water and sewer enterprise accounts retained earnings. So that's the rough overview. When you're ready, if you have any overall questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, I'll start diving into some of these budgets in the book and just giving you a sense of where we're at.
Now, have you met with all the departments that are listed here tonight? Have they just
Anything
submitted
listed
their
here
idea?
tonight actually goes through either my office or through Tammy's. And I have met with anyone that I need to present for tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. So I'll just move through the book from alphabetically instead of the order it's on here. So animal inspectors is your second tab. Animal control is your second tab. Animal inspectors after that. That's mostly taken up by salary here and a couple small admin office supply lines. Our understanding is that can stay level, and the salaries there will receive the same increase that any other employees receive. We haven't put increases in here for salaries. We'll do all of those together. It'll be somewhere, we typically try to aim for around a 2.5 or 2.6% increase. And that's what we'll try to do this year, but we'll have to see where everything is at to see if that's reasonable. That stipend would receive the same increase. And then the next one I'll bring you to is auditor. That is entirely paid to one contractor. Their costs rise a little bit each year, so we've budgeted $38,000 for auditing services for next year. It shouldn't be much more than that, but we'll get a final number from them shortly. And the audit is underway right now with our contractor there.
Is that part of the contract of like the audit that missed all of our stuff in the books last year?
Auditor is a different contractor than our accountant. So auditor has been pretty good. They are looking at our accounts and making sure that everything balances.
Yeah.
They're looking at our practices, our general management. They have helped us find a lot of things that need to be fixed in the past, and they're pretty happy with our progress now. So it's separate from the accounting services.
Okay.
Yeah. General liability and property and public safety insurance would be the next one. So you'd be looking for the tab that says general liability. And this is one where I actually want to bring down this number some more. We were trying to figure out what the actual number is. In 2025, we spent $149,318. This one is always complicated by the fact that we get one bill from our property insurance agency, Maya, in the beginning of the year, and then kind of a bunch of rolling ones throughout the year as adjustments get made if we take on new vehicles, if anything changes with our facilities. They do a workers' comp audit, so if anything changes with our employees, our workforce in some way, some extra bills can come in. In the past, bills have been as high as $15,000, $20,000 that have come in, but that hasn't happened for some time. So the workers' comp audit I got a couple weeks ago was $1,500, so fine. So in 2025, we spent $149,000. Maya, to soften the blow of their health insurance rates rising, they announced that they have 2% decreases in premiums in their property insurance for the next year. And they typically tell you to reserve 15% more on top of that for any audits that come in. So that would bring us much closer to around $150,000 for this year rather than $195,000. So while I put $195,000 as a conservative number, I'm most likely going to bring that down significantly when the final budget comes in, probably much closer to $150K.
And is this also the one that we get the discount for when we pay in full?
You're absolutely right. No, this is not the one we get the discount for when we pay in full. This is the one we get the discount for Maya rewards. If we do things that show safety in our workforce and other things, they'll bring down rates there. The paying in full one is one that Tammy has in her budget through Hampshire County Retirement.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have that one shortly. HCTV Enterprise, for this one, feel free to jump in with anything you've got, John. I don't mind. The man behind the camera might want to add something, but we've got a very healthy enterprise account there. Still capital funds coming in from Comcast. So again, kind of some aggressive ideas of some capital that we want to make sure we're spending on. We have there's some general maintenance lines and everything else for the rest of it, but it's an area where we could make some good capital expenses, make sure we're finishing the setup for upstairs so we can get more of our meetings in there. We'll get all of that done over the next year. John's made some good progress on that lately. So
Andrew, is that what the 30,000 is again this year? This year is to finish working upstairs? Or?
Some of it we'll spend this year, but some of it, yeah, we'll need the work upstairs, and we'll need. John, do you want to add in what the other equipment is?
So we need our video server died, we have no video server, we have no channel 15 basically right now, so we need to replace that. I've been to other community access stations around, I've been to Greenfield, I've been to Sunderland, I've been to Northampton, I've been to East Hampton. They're all much bigger communities than us. They spent upwards of $50,000 on their servers.
Okay.
We only have one channel, so hopefully we can find something about $20,000, hopefully. Also, I have two computers upstairs that I edit on. They're both 10 years old. I can't even buy new software. They're both Windows 8 computers. So those need to be replaced. I'm having a meeting on next Wednesday with a consultant to outfit the room upstairs with big screen or projectors and video conferencing equipment so we don't have this little thing anymore.
Perfect.
So,
That'd be great.
and whatever he comes back with an estimate, that might get added on for next year if we can
Okay.
get it for this year.
Nice.
Excellent. Any other questions on HCTV? Again, this is an enterprise account. It's healthy. We've got a good capital money in there. We should be spending more of it. So, great. Next, I want to take you to legal, legal tab. I will be upping this most likely for reasons we'll talk about later tonight. But between, yeah, I think for some special counsel that we're working with, and just our general expenses, might want to see this come a little higher. We can talk about what makes sense. But right now I have it at 30K. I think that's actually pretty good for this year, but we might want to go higher. We can talk about that more. But I think 50 might be a better, end up being a better number. So we can talk about that, and I'll need your approval. All right, so select board expenses. So stipends, this is the number that we are at for this year, since one of our members does not take the stipend. It's $5,600. And then otherwise, I've cut a little bit just based on what past spending has looked like, from $700 to $500 for advertising legal notices. Professional development, I've kept it $600 because if there's any opportunities that come up, I want you all to take advantage of those. We do pay for membership to the MMA. That's what dues, memberships, licensing is. Business travel, I've cut slightly just to reflect what past spendings look like, but if you have to attend meetings and anywhere, then I think we do have a good, healthy budget for that, for any duties that they might need to attend to. And then the postage, we could probably cut at some point. Actual spending in 2025 was $142. But if you do have mailings and things that need to go out, we want to make sure that that's at a good number. So 500 should get us through just fine. Any questions on select board? Great. Technology. Technology support services, that's for our IT vendor. I put $40,000. We shouldn't be above that for our vendor for this next year. At our next meeting, I'd like to have a conversation about who that vendor is. I think we've had a good experience with Suzer, but it's always good to check in and just make sure we're happy with what we have. I have some quotes from other potential folks to work with, just so that we compare apples to apples. So we can talk about that at our next meeting. It's the kind of thing I'd love to do in an executive session, because Suzer at this point feels like an employee and it feels weird to be talking about them, but it has to be done in an open session. So that's what we plan to do. Other professional services. This was money that was going into managing our website. It was higher this year to accommodate a redesign project that's required as we move out of the Drupal platform to the Civic Engage Open, or Civic Engage platform. It might be able to come down a little bit for next year, but we might need to move some of those funds to the next line, software licensing, which has been higher. That's just our licenses that we pay for using Microsoft's Office and a few other programs. Those costs have been higher. We might need to make that. It works across the two budget lines. We might want to rebalance that a little bit. And then capital, we usually set aside around $8,000 for capital repairs, replacements, new computers, new hardware of any other kind. The $8,000 should be fine for next year, but I will see if there's anything else we need to do. Any questions on tech? Cool. Town administrator. Okay. Professional salaries for the department head. That's me. That's contractual. Administrative salaries. I have kept this flat at the moment, but as I said, we'll add the increase later. Stipends. I do have a one-time moving stipend in my contract that I cut for this year because of the budget issues. We'll see if we have room for it next year too, and if we need to cut it, we'll figure it out. That's really not a problem. And then professional development, I have at $850. There's some pretty helpful professional development that I plan to take part in next year. Some executive coaching through the Massachusetts Managers Association. Pretty reasonable. Actually, they're only charging $40 for it, but if there's other things that come up, I'd like to do that. So, other professional services. This is for any consulting projects or things that come up during the year, just to have some short money. It's been useful. If that line needs to come down, it will. $7,500 is probably pretty good. $900 is a stipend that I receive for use of my personal cell phone. And then office supplies, we've kept basically flat, cut a little bit. Business travel is a slight increase, and dues membership is a slight increase, just to reflect the memberships that I do have. Any questions on TA?
Nope.
Great. Town hall operations, we've seen some of our leases come up a little bit, so just want to cover that. That would be for our postage machine and for our copier. Actually, I believe that's the one that's on here. Yeah. And then admin office supplies, 2025 actual spend was 2,800, so 3,000 seems good. Postage, 200 should be fine for that. So pretty straightforward line there. Veteran services, we are still with Northampton for veteran services. I'm waiting to find out what the actual number is for next year. My draft number right now is $19,000. Last year was $17,450. I assume they're going to go up. Hopefully that covers it. We'll find out soon. We're continuing to look at if there's any way to bring this in-house again. It worked out well in the past, but at the same time, the qualifications have changed significantly. In order to process claims through the VA, they require essentially a full-time person, which is difficult for us to have. But we will see if there's a way that we could potentially have one of our staff members take that on in the future. It does require that you're a veteran. Lucky to have a few on staff, and may have more next year. So there you go. All right. In veterans benefits, I've kept flat. That number seems to be working for this year, but we'll increase it if we need to. That's a lagging number because you're essentially paying for last year's benefits. That's what we have right now. And then Veterans Memorial is kept flat, $1,325 that goes towards honoring our veterans. So. Good. So that's what I have for my budget lines.
Did we
Any
do
questions?
conservation?
I skipped it because I probably should. I don't do their budget. I probably
Okay.
shouldn't speak to it. We'll have them at a later meeting.
Gotcha.
When we do, we'll figure that out. Yeah, we'll have it at a later meeting. Great. And then I'll give a minute for questions. And then when you're done, Tammy can touch on her budget lines.
I'm ready.
Go Tammy, all yours.
So I guess you want my budget first, not just the other.
However you want. This is your party.
Great. Where's the snacks? So,
It's your party, you bring it.
Professional salaries.
This is on the
mine-
treasurer collector.
Yep, treasurer collector. Mine is under contract, and we did sign somebody to the assistant treasurer collector position, which we were able to keep at the same salary that Patty was at when she left. So we have really no increase in that salary for next year. We still have the two part-time people in my office. The assistant treasurer collector, when she starts, not till July 1, will be taking on responsibilities with water sewer, being that we're going to be going quarterly, so we're going to be picking up 2 extra billings a year, and that's going to be most helpful. So we have that, and we'll be getting into a lot of other stuff that just sort of sits on the wayside, because Tammy can only keep up with so much as one person. So we don't really have, other than if we do COLA for my 2 part-time people in the office, we don't have any increases there. Stipends, I carried the $2,000 for treasurer or assistant collector. The assistant treasurer collector that comes in does come in as a certified collector. She did get her certification, and I may be eligible to take the test this year, but I have to see if I can finish my courses and take the test in the same year for a collector.
This is a state law that says that there's a $1,000 stipend, right, that comes
Yeah.
in once you finish the state.
Yeah, so if I
State-run
don't take
school.
the test, the $1,000 of that budget goes back.
Yeah.
Advertising for legal, advertising has changed for tax title. We don't really have to put it in the paper anymore. We can actually post stuff on properties, so we're not gonna have the huge expense of putting it through the paper. We can post it in a couple different places, so it's gonna be a lot cheaper to go through the tax title process, so I reduced that advertising and legal budget. Billing and collections, I bumped it up just slightly, only because we're gonna go to quarterly billing, so we'll be using more envelopes, more paper, more postage, all of that. Professional development, we just level funded, because we added, professional services of $750, that covers the town hall. We have a shred bin now that is in the copier room that they come and they dump monthly. My office has probably utilized it most because there's been so much in the town hall that has not been cleaned out from my office for years past, so, but it has been pretty useful in, for security purposes too. You know, we don't have, the old shredder was not a cross-cut shredder, so that wasn't very secure, and that's just getting thrown in a dumpster, so this eliminates that as well. Postage and mailing, I reduced mine because part of it will go to water sewer. So I was able to reduce part of my budget as treasurer collectors. So that I brought down. Software licensing. Software licensing went up due to the fact that we're gonna look to go to electronic payroll. Andrew and I both do have, the video to review, which we can do, and then start to be adding people, on slowly, hopefully, you know, one, like, we're looking to add my office and then all of Andrew's payroll, see how it incorporates into our existing, to see how it operates, and then, add another payroll until we hit the full, till we get up to the school, probably. That'll probably be the hardest one. So that's not it may not hit that entire cost, because it depends on how we add them. We only get charged as we add them, so it's not a one and done add per person. Office supplies I brought down slightly because we've been pretty good at, I'm pretty frugal in the office with. Bank fees we were able to reduce because I did eliminate our lockbox service, so we don't have a lockbox service anymore. All payments now come into the town. They don't go through the town of Medford, and they don't process them. They all now come to the town, so we were to reduce those. I did keep part of it because in the event that we did a borrowing and we needed some kind of fees to cover, like S&P, if we needed to get audited by them in order to get the loan through if we borrowed. So we kept the 4. We may not use it, but it's good for it to be there for that instance. And everything else I pretty much level funded. My business, dues and memberships, insurance premiums for treasurer and collector. You have to carry both treasurer and collector for your surety bonds. And that's about it. Question?
Question?
What's next, Tammy?
Tax title, I talked with Andrew, we level funded it for this year, we haven't really used the budget this year. There is properties that we do have with the tax title attorney that we have, but they don't bill us until it's completed. And we've only given her this one item so far, because we felt this one was the most recoverable and it's the biggest piece. So we're still working with her in hopes that something will be developed, hopefully this fiscal year, I would hope.
As a note, this budget did come down to, I think, $10,000 for the rest of this fiscal year when we did the cuts in the fall. So when you say level funded, right now we're planning to bring it back up to 25, but maybe we cut this down a little bit. So we'll see. That's a good one to know that we have some wiggle room there, because we also have the revolving account that's helping. So that's an option.
County retire, that's the one that Luke was asking about. I actually did have in your budget line of $1,049,000. $1,049,000, it's actually gonna be the $953,670. That's your one-time payment, to make your savings of $15,684, so that budget line would go down. Your group insurance, obviously Andrew spoke about our group insurance, that's sort of still a work in progress for us. We're waiting for numbers to come in, so we sort of threw a number out and based it on a 15% increase, but depending on who we have for employees, and if we decide to carry the extra like we normally do, that number could go either way, really.
To clarify on that, so what we typically do is we add essentially a contingency. We don't know exactly what our employee roles will look like starting July 1 if somebody decided to join the health insurance that we offer. Since it's open enrollment, they are able to do that. So we usually carry 4 individual and 4 family extra in case they join. I think we might leave that closer to, say, 2 and 2 this year, because with rates increasing that much, there'll be fewer folks who decide to voluntarily jump on board. This might be more people going the other direction. So, but we'll figure that out. 4 and 4 is certainly was helpful this year, because it means that the amount we'll have to add extra is a lot smaller. But for next year, it might be more realistic to bring that number down a little and make it easier to balance the budget. So the amount that the FY27 department request could be anywhere from about 1.4 million to this 1.5 that's listed here, so depending on what we want to carry and where Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust lands, and unless we get a better offer from someone else. So that's where we're at. And just to clarify, the FY26 budget amount here, I don't believe is accurate. I think our final number in the budget from this year is $1,029,000. So
That makes the
I was
big-
really scared when I looked at the increase. From 779 to 1.5 million.
Yeah, I was just trying to do it in my head because it was like 20% plus 20%
Yeah,
plus
how do
20 and 15.
how do we do
That's
that?
not
Yeah.
93.
It wasn't quite right. So I'm not sure what happened here, but 1,029,000 was the number that I saw in my final budget for this year, and that's going to end up needing to be supplemented a little bit, but certainly it's not a $800,000 increase. It's going to be more like a $400,000 increase, which makes a big difference for us.
And you guys are doing the budget different on different kind of spreadsheets this year, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the department spreadsheet will look different. So, yeah. Is that it, Tammy?
I mean, the only other stuff I really have is unemployment and my OPEB
Well, let's talk about them. We're here.
and your Medicare, which is
Medicare.
all pretty. The OPEB we look to just keep 10,000 a year to stay on target, to keep submitting to our OPEB trust.
And OPEB's another one where it's a question that we'll have to decide, do we want it to come from the budget per se, or as a free cash transfer? I think last year we did it as a free cash transfer. But certainly if it's something you want to spend on every year, you could structure it as being part of the budget. It doesn't quite matter either way, but it's one where you might want to say it's not coming from the general fund budget, if we're concerned about keeping that number in the right vicinity.
And last year it was 20, only because we caught up a year that we had missed.
And I believe it came from free cash, but I'm not positive. Yeah, David's saying yes. And so that's OPEB. You want to do Medicare, or it's
Yep,
it's
I
levy?
can tell you. Right now, our Medicare seems to be on target for what we had budgeted. We're at 72,269 through February 5th. So I'm pretty confident we should be on target. I'm gonna look to move that up a little bit. I'm figuring that even on the high side of all of the higher payments we had coming in later, so. I think you might have like 4,000 left maybe in that budget line by the end of the year.
All right, take us home with unemployment.
Unemployment, our unemployment so far, we've only used 12,830 to date, out of our $25,000 budget, but I moved it up slightly to match our FY25, only due to the fact that we're not really sure what might happen
Some positions, yep.
with some positions, and that may skyrocket it, so we're not really sure. So that's why we just slightly bumped it up.
And the reason for doing it slightly instead of, if we think there might be more need, doing it a much larger increase, is that we do have this unemployment trust that's available to us. It's $111,000 in that right now. Any unspent funds from here go into that trust, so that's at a good rate. That's at a good amount in case something were to happen. You'd probably want to keep that funded at 2 to 3 times what your annual budget is. So that might even be larger than it needs to be, but I think it's probably at a good place right now, and we can adjust it in the future if we need to.
Yeah, that's always there if we have to. Anything?
Nope.
Oh, good.
Something?
I'm sorry we did the most exciting ones tonight. I'm really, really sorry we did that to you.
Yeah.
Actually, you have one more that's big, but we'll talk about it later. I think it will make more sense in the context of everything else, which is debt. So that's the most colorful one. I mean, if you want to talk about it tonight, you can, but it might make more sense in the context of the rest of the full budget. It's up to this group.
Probably also better if there are more of us here also. when
I
we
think
do
so.
that.
I want Finance Committee here. That
I
one.
agree with that.
Great.
Well, thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dave, you have anything to say, representing yourself and not the Finance Committee?
Nope. No, we had a meeting last week and got going on our, just kind of get some organization done, set some dates for the future. So there's a plan in place for us to do our work and then to meet with you guys and that kind of stuff. So we're on our way.
Perfect.
It's that time of year.
It's that time of year.
We'll get it done. I feel
Okay.
better now that I realized it wasn't an $800,000 increase in healthcare expenses from last year to this year. So 400 is still really big, but it's better than 800.
We're in better shape than some towns and cities.
I think that's true.
On that side of things.
Yep, I think that's true. Good. All right, anything else on the budget for tonight? Good.
No.
With that being said, the next thing is we'll be heading into executive session, and we will not be returning. So unless there's any other old business that needs discussion at this time.
We're good.
So I'll entertain a motion on
I will make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, as discussion in open session is likely to have negative impact on the town's litigating position. We will be discussing the Route 5 water and sewer project, and we will not be returning to open session.
Second.
Jaworski, aye.
Daniel, aye.
Longstreet, aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and John, thank you, and we will not be returning, so have a good evening.